Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I'm pleased to offer this amendment in the nature of a substitute to H.R. 5129, the Bipartisan Community Services Block Grant Modernization Act of 2022. In 1964, Congress first established the Community Action Program to support locally driven anti-poverty efforts. Today, community action agencies, or CAAs, form a network of more than 1,000 organizations with a dedicated mission of helping individuals and families find their way out of poverty. These agencies provide services and programs that meet the unique needs of local communities and help low-income individuals and families achieve economic stability, secure meaningful employment and adequate education, gain and improve job-related skills, obtain housing, and participate in the community. Unfortunately, CSBG has not been reauthorized since 1998, the year Google was founded and John Glenn flew the Discovery Space Shuttle mission, and I might say that Titanic was a box office hit. That's a long time ago. We're long past due for Congress to pass a comprehensive reauthorization of the significant law. I'm very proud of the productive collaboration with Congressman G.T. Thompson, my partner on our committee, in leading the Community Service Block Grant Modernization Act of 2022, and I sincerely thank Representatives DeSaulnier, Stefanik, and Comer for joining us in leading this effort. Our bill continues the long tradition of bipartisan support for this program. I also want to acknowledge Congresswoman Betty McCollum, who led early iterations of this proposal in prior Congresses and has joined us this session to build on that foundational work with more than 80 bipartisan co-sponsors. Our bill will reauthorize CSBG for 10 years, the longest period in its history, and also make important overdue improvements to the program. This includes strengthening funding for community action agencies and raising the CSBG's program income eligibility threshold to expand access to their services and to update. The bill also promotes innovation in the CAA network through a federally administered Community Action Innovations Program. Lastly, I want to highlight a provision championed by Mr. Thompson to create broadband navigator projects so CAAs can assist their clients in accessing internet services and connected devices that are necessary for learning, finding employment, and other basic activities of everyday life. And I proudly support Mr. Thompson's addition to the bill. The ANS builds upon the bill's modernization of the statute to expand eligibility, strengthen accountability and performance requirements, and support innovation. This will put CSBG on solid footing so the program continues to meet the complex and changing needs of low-income individuals and communities without changing the local control that is a very important part of CSBG's success. Changes in the ANS include refining the definition of poverty line so it reflects how the Department of Health and Human Services calculates the poverty line in practice, clarifying timelines and requirements regarding how and when CSBG funding must be allocated, providing additional clarification regarding funding and participation of tribes, adjusting the requirement of the Secretary's assessment of state compliance from assessing 1/3 to 1/5 of all states each fiscal year, allowing the Secretary to use states' administrative funds to conduct statewide activities in the event a state fails to meet the requirements of the Act, correcting the current ambiguity in the allocation formula for territories, authorizing $5 million for fiscal year 2023 through 2025 for an electronic data system administered by HHS to facilitate accountability and reporting requirements under the Act, and adding a limitation that the transition period for issuance of final regulations implementing the Act may not extend longer than 2 years. This ANS also makes a number of technical, conforming, and perfecting changes. Finally, and importantly, in addition to the co-sponsors, I would like to thank the chairman and his dedicated staff, particularly Teresa Thompson, Jessica Sheeter, Emily Hopkins, Joyce By, and Carrie Hughes for working with us over many months to bring forward this bill today, as well as my staff, Jack Arriaga, who has worked diligently on this bill. I urge my colleagues to support this ANS as well as the underlying bill to renew our nation's commitment to reducing poverty through community action. And I yield back.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak on the amendment? Gentleman from Idaho, Mr. Fulcher.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman,